Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Let me quickly introduce myself. In respect of time, I'll get started with the session today. So I'm Sudeep M. Shrestha. I'm a lead project manager at Leapfrog. I've been in the software industry for 15 plus years now. And within the last 15 years, I've had an opportunity to work with various IT companies in Nepal, in the UK, and in the US as well. Agility, talking about agility. Agility for me is a lifelong journey. It's a journey where you continue, where you continuously improve yourself, inspecting and adapting to situations. COVID-19 pandemic has taught us very good lessons. It has crossed all of the cultural and technical barriers that prevented remote working in the past. It's not just about technology, it's about the culture we build. And according to the various surveys that have been conducted throughout the world, more and more people now prefer to work from home instead. And in this session, I'll briefly cover some of the topics related to what remote work is. What are some of the common misconceptions that we have about remote work? A new era after the industrialization era, some of the benefits and challenges of remote work, redefining the company culture, and the future of remote work. But before we deep dive into the session today, I like to practice 1 minute mindfulness sessions. Mental health is equally important as to physical health, right? I'm sure all of us believe in that. So I'll just take 1 minute of your time and let's do a quick mindfulness. It's been a long day for us together, right? It's been a whole day. We've been juggling here and there between sessions, grabbing so much knowledge into us. So let's try to relax for a minute. I'd like to request you all to sit upright because we want all of you to fall asleep, right? So let's sit upright. I'm sorry for the ones standing at the backside, but it's okay. Don't please fall down. Please close your eyes. So as you mentioned, like mindfulness session is like it can be done by anyone. Like it's not necessary to have a mediator, a meditator, or a motivational speaker for this. We just need to relax ourselves, breathe in and breathe out. So take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. You can feel like obviously your minds are starting to wander around, like you are getting so many thoughts right now, but it's okay, that's fine. You need to come back. You need to come back from that environment. Breathe in and breathe out, and when you breathe in, your belly goes in, and when you breathe out, your belly comes out. So breathe from the belly. If your mind is again starting to wander, it's okay. Just be careful. And now, like, you feel the sensation within yourselves, right? Beginning with your toes, slowly moving up towards your knees, towards your hips. Again, your stomach, your lungs. And now, bring all your focus into between your foreheads. Okay, now you can slowly open your eyes. I hope you all feel relaxed, right? So mental well-being is very important. That's a part of my presentation today as well, which I'll come back to later. Thank you for having the patience. So what is remote work? Remote work is basically a working style that allows professionals to work outside of traditional office environment. You do not need to commute, right? So basically, we are avoiding commute, like long overhaul commutes that we do each and every day. Just imagine the commute within Kathmandu city is so hectic. Not just in Kathmandu city, I think that's a worldwide problem. Even if you go to London city or New York, like it's a similar situation, right? So basically, remote working leverages us to override such commute challenges that we have, right? And it's not just about the commute, it's about the stress you get. Like if you if you have long overall commutes every day, every single day, then it kind of brings stress to you and reduces your productivity as well. So while remote work has been feasible for a few decades, but it has been mainstream due to COVID-19 pandemic. We have been through this situation for the past 2 years. Most of us, like almost all of us, have been working remotely. And there are varieties of ways in which people can work remotely. Like it's not just WFS. We normally, the most obvious one is definitely working from home. But however, like there are other variations as well. Like people could work from co-working spaces or coffee shops. Or even like there's a very common word, there's a very common phrase. It says, I've been able to travel and take my job with me. Like people enjoy like traveling and working at the same time. So these are some of the remote working remote working statistics. So as I mentioned earlier, nowadays, like I'm sure like your organizations have surveyed your employees, and from the survey, like even at Leapfrog, like we have realized like most of the people like they prefer to work remotely at least 3 days, 2 or 3 days a week, as well. So as per like McKinsey Global Institute, they analyze around 2,000 tasks across 800 occupations in 8 different countries, like majorly were US, UK, Japan, France, China, and India, like on these countries, and then try to analyze what are the different types of what are the different natures of work that could be done without loss of productivity from home. And they found from this statistics, they figure out that around 20 to 25% of workplaces that in advanced economies could work remotely for 3 to 5 days a week. Also, for example, like Facebook has announced like they'll allow employees to work remotely for full-time if their jobs can be done rightly, right? And there are other like remote companies who are like fully remote companies. For example, Buffer, Zapier, Hofstaff, GitLab, and Invisions. So moving on. So these are some of the common misconceptions about remote work, right? So remote workers have trouble communicating. They aren't very good at communications, or the communications are not so effective while working remotely. These are some of the common misconceptions we have heard so far. And remote workers are always on, right? They do not have a proper work-life balances and those kind of stuff. So we keep on hearing them. And remote workers actually don't work because of the, like, I think Vishnu really pointed out very well about trust. Like one of the pillars of Agile is being able to trust your employees, your co-workers, right? And these are some of the common misconceptions that we have. Apart from this, like, does anyone want to raise their hand and include some of the other misconceptions about remote works, if any?
We don't need to take leave when we are remote.
Yeah, that's very common one. Thank you for bringing up that one. Now, I'd call this a new area after the industrialization era, right? So the picture here resembles a typical production line. So after World War II, people actually literally started to move to the core cities, right? Main cities. And I believe that was the need of the hour as well, right? Because people had to use like huge, heavy machineries. They had to be there in the production line, and they were only productive then, right? So this was a kind of situation like during the industrialization area. I'm sure almost all of us are aware about this, right? Now, do we still, because the technology has advanced so much now, that do we still need to follow the same practice again? Now, if you go back to history, even before industrialization era, people were mainly usually being paid based on the amount of work they did rather than the amount of time they spent at work, right? So, but then later on, like during the industrialization area, then the concept of 9 to 5 work actually started, where people were paid only based on the amount of time they spent at the workplace, right? So actually, so I think we now need to rethink of this model, right? We now need to think, because like we have so much technological advantages now. We are so much with different kind of tools that are available in the market that we can use. And we should probably now rethink about this scenario and then incentivize people based on work they do and not just amount of time they spend at work, right? Spending long hours of work at office does not necessarily mean like people are productive, right? So moving on, I'd like to talk briefly about some of the benefits of remote work. So the most obvious one here is obviously the flexible lifestyle, right? If you're working remotely, you have a very flexible lifestyle. You can choose to work from places where, like, people can always choose to work from places where they are comfortable with. They can set their schedules. They can only set their own schedules, right? For example, some people may prefer to work during the morning hours, and others may prefer to work on the evening hours, right? And also, if people are not working, they can prioritize other things outside of their office, right? For example, for working parents, right? They can work during the morning hours, and during the later in the afternoon, they can when they have kids at home, they can have spare some time for the kids to be with them, stay with them, right? And also, like, talking about long and uncomfortable commutes, like, there is a report that was published by the Royal Society of Public Health in the UK. And based on this report, it was found that 55% of participants felt more stressed as a result of their commute. By eliminating that commute and letting remote employees work in an environment that they are comfortable in, employers are nurturing less stressed out employees, right? So this comes to the commute, like long overall journeys, right? So that's a data that's been extracted from the public health in the UK. And also, if we are working remotely, it also helps us to avoid some of the, like, workspace distractions and all. And also, like, remote work also comes with, like, higher productivity. With flexible lifestyle, it also comes with higher productivity, and also cost savings. Like, so the offices, like, a lot of the company expenses are spent on rentals, office furnitures, and other logistics and everything, right? So maybe we can reutilize that budget and to something else useful, right? For example, like American Express almost saved around $15 million in real estate costs by implementing a blue work program that they have, right? In this program, basically the employees were allowed to choose, like, if they want to work from office, hub, or club, like that was occasionally an office space, or if they prefer to work from home or room, like when working while traveling. So some of the challenges of remote work. So I've categorized the challenges in 3 sections, like what are the challenges that people face as individuals while working remotely. Similarly, what are some of the challenges at team level and company level. So these are some of the challenges that we face at individual, right? So not everyone has proper access to a workspace or infrastructure, right? For example, not everyone may have, like, a stable internet connection at home or proper power backups, right? Just imagine if COVID pandemic had happened a couple of years ago, we had enormous amount of load sheddings, right? So we literally had like 10 to 15 hours of power outages almost every day, right? So thankfully, touchwood, like I think we are on the right time. We had a stable power supply at our homes, and also our internet supplies, like internet conditions, has improved a lot now. Also, it may be challenging for people, so some of the people who do not have a proper work environment, right, where people can focus, right? For example, considered like working moms, right? So they may be frequently distracted or disturbed by the kids at home, right? So those are some of the challenges that people may face as an individual as well. Also, a proper divide between work and social life, right? This can also lead to long working hours, right? So even for me personally, like when I was working remotely at home, like I used to be online every time, right? So that was one of the conditions. Obviously, we did not have. I did not have any other options. I couldn't go out. I couldn't have fun with party and meet peoples and all. I didn't have that option. That could also be there. But then, like on-screen times are really high. Like we are continuously, even for a simple meeting sessions. Like if I have to talk to one of my fellow people, co-workers, like I need to get online, get into a Zoom call, then talk to them, right? So. And also there are mental health issues like mental well-being challenges due to isolations and challenges connecting with the people, right? And in a corporate world, I'm sure you have heard about this, like it's a very popular saying, it's not just about who you know, it's not just about what you know, sorry, it's also about who you know. Now let's move to some of the team level challenges, right? So I think for team, the top one is definitely collaboration challenges. It's very hard to collaborate with other team members, right? When we are working remotely, and collaborations, when we have we do not feel so productive while problem solving or trying to, if we have to figure out any kind of innovative solutions, right? And brainstorming sessions, there are again the challenges in we have challenges in negotiations, critical business, if we have to make some critical business decisions or brainstorming sessions, and even providing sensitive feedbacks, right? The face-to-face conversations really adds value, which in a sense is very, very difficult while working remotely. Again, there are some challenges for new hires, right? For new hires, just imagine there is a new people in your organization who has recently joined, and now it's very hard for them to connect with other peoples. It's even harder for them to build relationships with rest of the company, people in the rest of the company, and understand the culture. Also, we have some mentorship challenges, right? It's not just about mentorship, not just about technical onboarding, technical stuffs, but it's also accepting them to be a part of our journey, right? So at company level, there are even bigger challenges, I believe. So maintaining the workspace or office cultures, while doing it remotely, it's very hard as well. We do not have a common ground for all. Also, it's very difficult to analyze employees' pulse, right? Taking the pulse of people, right? And there are further challenges like organizing company-wide events and the participations. We used to have kind of all hands sessions, and the participations strictly dropped, right? So when we went remotely. So also there are challenges where employees have to understand if we have to disseminate any company level updates or policy changes, it's very even challenging. So these are some of the high level challenges that we have faced as well at individual, team level, and company levels. Right? Anyone who wants to add any of the challenges they have faced in their organization? Sounds like I included all of them, so thank you. Okay. So redefining company culture. So now company culture is a big term, it's a massive thing, right? I'm sorry I won't be able to cover everything today, but I've combined some of my opinions, my thoughts in this. So after COVID, after the pandemic, there has been a cultural paradigm shift in which society that deems to be an appropriate workspace, and remote work had capitalized from that newfound freedom. I'd like to call this as having an open relationship with office. Right? However, having said that, remote work could be different to different people. Like I mentioned earlier. For example, for a working parent, a working mom, or a working parent, it might be hard. It might be hard, because they'll be frequently being disturbed by their kids at home or household works, right? That could be a challenge. Also, individuals, if there is an individual who does not have a proper work environment at their home, it's going to be hard for them to focus on their work. Also, people may not have the right kind of infrastructure or workspace set up at their home. So those kind of challenges are there, right? However, on the other hand, like so for someone who has already been in a company for a while, who has already understood the culture, who has understood the culture, company culture very well, it might not be so hard for them to work remotely as well. And I think now I think the train has now I think the train has gone back slightly bit. Now we are working from office as well, like at least twice or thrice a days a week. Like we are back to office as well. However, I personally believe like working from office should not be a mandatory thing, but it should not be something that people have to do, but it has to be on need basis. Like if the people need to come to office, they can work from home. So I think the key thing here is like we need to rethink of the company culture that we have already said, right? So we also need to incorporate, define policies and practices that can incorporate like remote work environments as well, right? And one of the most crucial thing I would say is company values, right? We need to revisit our company values and create one if we don't have, right? So company values are basically the company's DNA that supports company's vision and also saves its culture, right? So these are I've listed a screenshot of our company's Leapfrog's company values. And when defining company values, like we should not just be focusing to our customers or a certain selected group of people, right? It should cater to all of our employees, right? For example, if you see here, some of the company values like customer focus and transparency are catered to our clients, our customers, and other values, for example, learning, accountable freedom, mutual respect. These are catered to individuals working in that particular organization or working employees, right? So I think this is very crucial. We need to make sure, like first of all, we need to define the company values if we don't have, and also we need to make sure like each and every individual have understood the company values very well, and they are well accounted with it, right? We could also introduce new perks, programs, and incentives that allow people to feel more connected, valued, and included, right? And as mentioned earlier, like we should try to incentivize people based on work they do rather than the time they spend at work. Also, we should also be sharing like company level updates, like when people are working remotely, not everyone would be on the same page, right? So we need to make sure like we are saying, so what's happening on the company side, what's the revenue sources, how we as a company are progressing, what's our situation. Like I think each and every individual employees need to be aware of those kind of stuffs. And also we should try and plan for some sort of networking sessions or activities where people can interact with each other. So I think when it comes to like company side changes, I think we also need to now focus on structuring of our offices a bit differently than before, right? For example, previously, like I think in most of the organizations, like some of the organizations, we have like more personal spaces rather than common spaces where people can interact, collaborate, and talk. Like maybe we should set up spaces where there are more meeting rooms for people where people can come and interact and have discussions and all. And also if possible, like we should also invest in the workspaces for individuals. Like when working remotely, like I mentioned earlier, like not everyone of us might have a proper workspace at home. Maybe companies can take a step forward, provide them the basic amenities they need. For example, provide them with stable internet connections or power backups, stable power backups, and those kind of stuff can be provided. And also, practicing and promoting asynchronous workflows and communications is also very, very important, right? So remote employees, like all of the remote employees could be could be based out of different time zones, right? I'm sure like we have as many of us, many companies here like have employees that are based out of different time zones in either in US, Europe, Australia, and different kind of time zones. Or in other words, like some people may prefer to work in a different may prefer to work in odd hours. Like for example, like some of them may prefer to work early morning hours, or some of them may prefer to work in the evenings as well, right? So we should practice and promote asynchronous workflows and communication. And the definition of async async work is simple, right? Do as much as you can with what you have, document everything, transfer the ownership to the next person, and continue with something else, right? So I think that's a very good practice. And to support this, there are various tools available. Like we can make use of these kind of tools. I'm sure like most of us are already aware of these kind of tools like Jira, Confluence, Slack, Drives, and Miro. So there are other kinds of tools as well. So as a company, I think we also need to invest in tools that would make people's life easier and allow them to collaborate more and do the jobs done. Also, mental well-being for employees is very, very important. So the session that we did earlier, the mindfulness session, right? Mindfulness meditation. It does not take too much effort, right? We can do it with our team members, with our colleagues. We can do it with our team members, and it's not necessarily like we need to have some kind of professional mentor or meditator to run those kind of sessions, right? Mindfulness sessions can be done by every individual, and it can be done anywhere at any moment in time, right? It just takes a couple of minutes of our time. So mindfulness meditation basically mainly involves like sitting silently and paying attention to our thoughts, sounds, and sensations of breathing or parts of the body, and bringing our attention back when the mind starts wandering around. So that's the session that we did earlier today. So we could practice those kind of sessions with our team members. So what the future of remote work looks like. So I think like the future of remote work is definitely going to be a hybrid kind of model where people can work from, people who want or wish to work from home, like they can work from home or work from anywhere. I'd rather call it work from anywhere, and also people who want to work from office, they can come back to the office and work from there. So hybrid models of remote work is going to stay, and it's a kind of revelation that has brought in the way we work today, right? It's a kind of revelation. It's not just about technology, but it's also about the culture we build. So most people, so as per like various surveys report, like it's been proven like most people now prefer to work from office twice or thrice a week, and then work from home for the rest of the week, right? So we can design our days such that like when we are working from office, like we can prioritize some of the activities, for example, that needs more collaborations and that needs more communication and collaboration with the rest of the team members. For example, some of the planning meetings that we do, we can prioritize on the days when we are working from office. While when we are working from home, we can prioritize some of the works that can be done independently, that do not require many interactions, that do not require like much interactions with the rest of the people, right? And so the potential for remote work should be determined by the tasks and activities and not occupation. So now I think we have talked a lot about digital transformations. We have also heard a lot about agile transformations, and now I think it's the time to talk and think about remote work transformations. Thank you. So that's the session I had. So we do have some time, so we can take some questions.